Hi guys! In today's episode we have so many crazy things happening. First we have units by positions, which is getting predictable and I was about to put that on the title, but unexpectedly Jiyoon and Jungeun solved their conflict. I thought someone would make them talk to each other, but this mission came in the right time, you will see why. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe and don't forget to like. Thanks! The episode starts with the complete ranking from episode 8. Jeemin got first place as expected, some people dropped on the ranking like Sarang going from 2nd to 7th, and Jungeun going from 4th to 8th. Meanwhile, Gyuri went from 12th to 6th and Jiyoon went from 8th to 4th. It's like Jiyoon and Jungeun inverted their positions. I just think it is tiring how Mnet kept showing them moving chairs with dramatic editing as if it is a superhero movie. They all move to their new rooms according to their positions and they show again Jiyoon and Jungeun, because she will be in the bed that used to be Jiyoon's, and we get to see they really don't talk to each other, and it's been like almost 3 months I guess. The thing is, when you have an argue with someone and you don't solve things right away, you both will keep distancing and it gets even harder to talk and solve things out when more time has passed, it keeps getting weirder and eventually you guys just don't talk anymore. But in this case they still see each other every day and it's getting difficult to keep distant, which is kind of good in a way. Meanwhile the atmosphere is sad in the lower ranking rooms, the room with 4, 5 and 6 positions has a happy coincidence. Jiyoon, Fuko and Gyuri are sharing the same room, and they were the ones to be sent to ground together after the first test. The room with 1st, 2nd and 3rd place belongs to the tall girls, Jeemin, Koko and Saebi. I like their friendship, they would do well in a group together. The next test is going to have 4 different units, divided by positions in a group. They are main vocal, main rapper, main dancer and all-rounder. The members of these units were decided by the producers, but they can choose their parts in the song. For main vocal, the 2 girls they chose were Jiyoon and Jungeun, so you can imagine what's coming. I thought the only way for them to solve their conflict was if someone intervened, so I thought at some point Fuko would make them talk, but in the end the producers are the ones who made it by choosing this unit. They will perform If I Were a Boy by Beyonce. For main rapper there were also 2 girls, Koko and Yuju, and they'll perform Spicy by CL. I mean, they are the only 2 rappers there until now, since Yui is not here anymore, so it was expected. Yuju got a bit scared because differently from the vocal category, this one had a choreography together, and Koko is a better dancer. For the main dancer unit there were 5 girls, they were Sujung, Juwon, Jeemin and Saebi. It's kind of sad that they were talking about Sujung and Juwon cause they are the best dancers there, they are right, but it was obvious they wouldn't do well because it seems Koreans and the producers don't like them very much. The song they'll dance to is Money by Lisa. For the all-rounder unit, the girls are Fuko, Sarang and Gyuri, with the song 4 Walls by FX. I think Mnet bought the rights of these songs together with Hybe before they broke the contract for ILAND, cause it's Money and 4 Walls again, and they even brought that boring coach again to help them. I mean, not really help cause the original producers there always give them better advices. Sorry, but after Are You Next I simply dislike all the coaches that participated there, except maybe one, and now I'm having deja vu with some things in ILAND. I wonder how Jeemin is feeling by having to see this dude again and remember her past. Now talking about this test in the songs, I just think they should have chosen a better song for a 15-year-old girl, cause Gyuri is in that team and they even said in their rehearsal that they were practicing to be sexy. It's a good song, but I just think it was not the right moment for it. For the other teams I think this test was very predictable about the winners and I thought this would be a boring episode, but turns out it was fun to watch. For me it's obvious Jiyoon will win because her song is more sentimental. Koko is now the producer's favorite while Yuju is being rejected by the Korean audience, so I expected Koko would win, especially because they made the rap unit have a choreography together. And for the dance team Sujung and Juwon are now the 2 least favorites on voting and the producers never really ranked them high, so it's obvious no matter what they do now, they won't be ranked high. Actually, after Sujung's sentence last episode and with the next elimination coming, I think these 2 will be out by votes. That's honestly sad, but Sujung's case was expected, she said what she said, and it wasn't nice. By this episode we can see she has no idea of how that sounded like, because she hugs Mai when they got negative feedback for the interim check and she was acting normal and happy, she has no idea why suddenly she's ranking low on votes. That's crazy to see, I even felt bad for her expectations, cause it would be better if someone told her the issue, so she can think about it and change her attitude for the future. It also seems like the teams were a bit messy. Maybe they could have done a center category. But anyway, the person with the highest ranking will be the leader for the team and the parts are chosen by ranking order, so the highest get to choose first. They start with the 4 Walls team, and Fuko is the leader. Fuko chose part 1, Gyuri chose part 2 and Sarang got part 3. For the rap unit, Yuju didn't get to choose because Koko was the leader, so Koko got part 1 and Yuju got part 2. I think this unit was the most relaxed and friendly one, it seems they were having fun even with all the pressure. For the vocal unit, Jiyoon chose part 1 and Jungeun got part 2. They weren't talking much and Jungeun felt nervous around Jiyoon, so she went to practice alone, and of course Mnet reminded us of the same 2 scenes they use in every episode since they happened. They love editing drama even when nothing is happening. I was thinking to myself if it would go like this until the finals, but in this episode something different finally happened, and for the best. I think I never felt so relieved and happy after drama in a survival show. Island 2 is really surprising me. For the dance team, Jeemin was the leader and she chose part 1. She is acting different now and it's very good. She is trying to show herself more cause that's what the producers told her before part 2, and she is challenging herself cause it's a different dance genre. Saebi is also not comfortable with the genre but she chooses part 2, Sujung gets part 3, Mai gets part 4 and Juwon part 5. They think a self-evaluation is going to be in 12 hours so they barely sleep and keep practicing like crazy, but turns out it was just an exercising time with Jong Yoonchil, a former participant from Physical 100, by Netflix, which by the way I watched and used to root for her. She was amazing there. The producers made them exercise for the whole week of this test. The interim check comes and they call Kang Jiwon again to help them, the guy from Are You Next that said there was no feedback for Jiyoon and Minsol last time he appeared here. If you don't like Monica, don't ever watch Are You Next. They start with the all-rounder unit and they weren't very stable, especially Sarang, and they said she wasn't confident. Kang Jiwon only said she was unstable and shaky repeatedly, but the producer 24 told her to sing without hesitation even if she is out of tune, a way better advice. That's why I don't buy Kang Jiwon. Even 24, who's always a bit rude, still gives good advice. They say the unit was too cute and less sexy. Next is the dance unit. They were called School Dance Club by the producers cause it wasn't good, and Jeemin and Saebi need to understand better the meaning of the song and be more of a bad girl. For the vocal unit, they didn't memorize the whole lyrics and sang with nice tones, but with missing parts. Kang Jiwon again being very nice, he says he gave up from the verse, then 24 says they can't give much feedback cause it's just like the dance unit, they didn't prepare well for the interim check and they had the time to do it. He also mentions part 1, that they need to practice as if they're risking their lives. Meanwhile, for the rap unit, they performed the whole song with lyrics and choreography and did it so well. I was impressed. This is going to be the best performance here. It's even unfair for them to have a dance break cause it's a rap position and the vocal one doesn't have choreography. But they still did it as if it was the official performance. Both deserve to debut. The producers say this performance was the most difficult one and they should be role models for it. Now we move to the performances, but before each unit we see their practice time. To set the scores, 100 points will be given by the producers and 100 points will be given by the live audience, which were 300 votes possible, converted to points. The first unit to go is the all-rounder unit. We see their practice time and Sarang is practicing the ooh part in 4 walls. Cause she kept getting off key. They also practice how to be sexy without energy, as they say. They didn't have many problems it seems, cause we move to the performance now. I have to point out how the stages are getting prettier every episode. They seemed like an official trio, everyone was great, except for one note that Sarang couldn't hold, but apart from that she did great. They were really pretty and Gyuri was so stable, everybody was impressed by her. I think Fuko fits the best here, and Sarang expressions were really good. Next to perform is the rap unit. I was anxious for this one. Their practice went so fine that I don't have much to talk about it, lol. They seem to have fun even though they were worried cause Koko is good at dancing and Yuju is better at rapping, and I agree with them. If this was only to evaluate the rap, I think Yuju should win, but since it's a performance with dance break, I was sure Koko would win, especially now that the audience likes her a lot. So let's get to it. I love their clothes, I like this style. They say Koko looks like a video game character and that's so true. This stage was so good, I love this performance. Yuju is more of a traditional rapper, I like her voice better, and Koko is a performer, she was so energetic and the part that she goes to the ground was so nice. This was an impactful performance. Yuju didn't do bad on the dance either, but Koko's part had more cool steps. Koko's rap is also better than in last episode, maybe because this isn't in English, or maybe because the girls seem to fit better with this concept as well. It's like the song was made for them. Also the fire coming from the stage was crazy, it felt like an award show again. I think this was the best and most impactful performance, maybe from the whole show. Next one is the dance unit. They were all nervous before going on stage. During practice time, producer Lee Jung helped them understanding the lyrics and gestures, but Jimin and Saebi also had a lot of help from their roommate Koko, because of the street style of dance. Mai was feeling discouraged because she got 6 votes as being the worst on the team, and the whole group hugged and supported her. Producer Lee Jung helped her being more confident. The dance unit was practicing until last minute. The performance begins. Let's talk about Jimin first, she was so good. I didn't expect all that, she learned so fast, she got a lot better at this dance style. Her solo parts were also good, she had the attitude, the expression, and the moves, everything went well. She just proved why she was at first place, all she needed before was confidence and more practice. Now talking about Saebi, I think she did it well, she got way better, but she is still different from Jimin. They both were struggling together, but Jeemin learned a lot faster than her. I don't think Saebi was perfect, but she was good and surprising. About Mai, she did okay, but she didn't call much attention, my eyes almost never followed her. She did well, but wasn't impressive. Same goes to Juwon, but I remember Juwon more than Mai, her expression seemed more natural for this concept. Sujung did well, but she didn't stand out that much because she mostly wasn't in the center. The producers said her movements weren't so clean, but the camera was moving so much in this performance that I don't have much to say cause most of the time it was zooming on Jimin and Saebi's face, not to talk about the cuts for reactions, so I couldn't see clearly that many parts of the choreography for the other three girls. I think Jimin's solo was the clearest camera moment there. Next we go to the so-awaited vocal unit. They recap their practice time and this is the moment I was waiting for. Oh my god, I can't believe it's finally happening. It seems Jiyoon had a long thought about talking to Jong-un or not, but they had almost 3 months without talking I guess, because when part 1 from Island was going on, the episodes were all already recorded, so it was airing for 2 months, then they waited for our votes. That's a long time, I thought they wouldn't solve it at this point, but the time finally came. It's funny how when the girls have problems they go to this pink sofa room, Jiyoon called Jong-un there, then the episode cuts, cause they think we are clowns. Okay, but the first thing she says is I'm sorry. Then she explains that she got upset when she was sent to ground cause she was relying too much on Jong-un, and Mnet plays their favorite scene of all time. Like, seriously, they've played that same cut since episode 2 until now, in every single episode, and we are in episode 9. But moving on, she says she should have accepted the result and that because of her emotions on part 1 she didn't open up to her, even though she is older. She says she's sorry again, and I realized I didn't remember Jong-un was 16. It makes sense that Jiyoon understands it's better to solve things up and decides to talk first, because she said she wanted to be a new woman and that she thought about her behavior before going to part 2. I'm happy for her, she actually seems like a new Jiyoon, cause in part 1 she mostly talked to Fuko but didn't get that close to other people, she went slowly making friends and becoming more sociable. Jong-un replies that what worried her the most was if they would drift apart, then Mnet shows us something they didn't show us when it happened. On the unit battle test, she was crying and talking to Fuko that she wanted to talk to someone but Jiyoon was ignoring her. All this time, they only showed us that same scene of Jiyoon going to ground and Jong-un was always quiet looking down, they never showed her saying anything, and during all these recent tests they wanted to talk to each other but didn't have the courage to. They talk about the performance normally and laugh about their mistakes, then they hold hands. It's like a movie scene, I feel like a weight got out of my shoulders cause I was getting tired of Mnet's editing replaying those scenes all the time. Now I just hope people listen to Jiyoon, cause she already said 3 times that she could have acted differently and that she wanted to be better as a person. Please take her advice. They continue practicing, but this time they are together. Jiyoon has difficulty with the high notes, so they use a method Kim Jae-hwan taught them, of calling someone as if they are far away, so she keeps calling her dad. It was funny. And it worked. He finally gave some advice. It's also nice to see Jiyoon and Jong-un practice when they are together, it's a totally different mood from before. Now let's see the performance. I must confess Jong-un sounded better in the rehearsals, meanwhile Jiyoon sounds better here, since she's doing the high notes now. Even when they were mistaking the lyrics in the interim check, I thought how nice Jongjian's voice was, but here it sounds a bit weaker, she did such high notes singing fine by Taeyeon, and this doesn't feel the same. But even like that, she didn't do any mistakes, she didn't get off key, she did great and sang well, I just expected the high notes to be more impactful. Jiyoon on the other hand, surprised me. She did well on the parts she had difficulty before, and her voice fits this song very well, it's more of a sentimental vibe so I was sure she would do well, but she got a lot better on the high notes and it was really nice to watch this performance. Both deserve high scores, but the live audience doesn't like Jong-un that much, they are voting for their faves, not for who did well, unfortunately. Now the girls go back to Island to know their new ranking. They reveal everyone's results of the voting first. As always, some injustice is happening. Jong-un sang so well and yet they placed her at 11th place with 187 votes, right behind Juwon, who had very short screen time being one of the best dancers there, placed at 10th with 195 points. Sujung got only 150 points, placing last, but that was kind of expected because of her behavior on last episode. As I said, she went from someone who had high chances of debuting, to the last place on the voting. Yuju was just like Jong-un, placed really low compared to their pair on the unit. She was placed 9th with only 200 votes, while her rap partner Koko was placed 1st with 266 votes. Just so we compare, Jiyoon got 237 votes while Jong-un got 187. Those are big gaps for great performances. It's impossible to say they were bad. We all thought they would be ranked close to their partners because after all, this was a unit mission. By the way, Koko surprised me cause she ranked higher than Jeemin, who used to have the biggest fanbase. Now the producers give their feedback and their scores. They compliment Sarang and Gyuri from the all-rounder unit and reveal their scores. Gyuri got 89, Fuko 82 and Sarang 84. It feels like they always give Fuko less than she deserved. For the vocal unit they say Jungeun improved on acting and they reveal their score without saying anything about Jiyoon. They always let someone from the unit without feedback. Jiyoon got 91 points and Jungeun got only 80. I said Jungeun didn't feel like 100% to me before, but the difference from points shouldn't be this far, both by votes and by producers. For the dance unit they say Jeemin was the best, and that Saebi needs to get better at other genres, and they say nothing about the others. Jeemin got 97, Saebi 81 and Sujung, and Juwon got 77. It feels like they judged based on screen time, lol, cause that matches it. For the rap unit they compliment Koko without much energy, but when they reveal their scores, they gave her 96 and Yuju got only 80. Since they don't say their feedback to everyone, I wonder what Yuju did wrong this time, because again, why are the partners so distant? They both did well, it was an amazing performance, they are producers and not fans, then why she had only 80 just like Jungeun? They could at least tell it on their feedback, but since they didn't add it to the episode, I'll assume it's not reasonable enough for us to see it, or they praised her just like Jungeun and did the same. Jungeun placed 10th, it seems Jiyoon got surprised at how low her score was compared to hers, and she even seemed sad for her. Yuju ranked 8th, Saebi went from 3rd to 7th, getting out of the debut badges. Jiyoon ranked 3rd, Jeemin ranked 2nd and Koko ranked 1st by 1 point from the voting. The difference between the vocal and rap unit partners is crazy, all 4 of them should be in the top 6. They move rooms and Saebi is the only one to leave the top 3 bedroom, so she's really sad and won't be together with her best friends Koko and Jeemin anymore. And the episode ends like this. Did you agree with the new ranking? Which was the best performance? Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Bye.